Fighter boats are a fairly recent concept in the evolution of space warfare in the Tantalus Cluster, first seeing use as a tool for system security services and the Sojourn Provost Corps, largely for the purpose of traffic inspections, civilian search and rescue, and as an accompaniment to larger longboats and cutters in apprehending smugglers and other petty criminals. In the mid-3rd century PCU, exploration began into the applications of such small vessels in large-scale fleet combat. A lightweight fighter boat boasting such a favourable thrust-to-mass ratio can be used to cast a much larger defensive net around a warship in much shorter time than larger longboats. And though each fighter boat offers significantly less individual point defense capacity, their agility can be valuable for intercepting torpedoes long before they come close to their intended target, or for casting a defensive screen of fighters across a vulnerable mission objective, such as a civilian space station. Another clear advantage of fighter boats is that of reconnaissance and picketing. On average, 2 fighters can be carried by a warship for every 1 longboat that would normally occupy that docking space. This allows a larger early warning grid to be deployed around a staging area, with fighters positioned to spot for long-range attacks or relay warning of enemy movements back to their mothership. The small craft can also be extremely difficult to detect when flying ballistic or operating on silent running, allowing them to coast across hostile areas and gather valuable strategic information prior to an action. Though the earliest fighter boats were Sojourn traffic control vessels, it was not only the Sojourn Assembly who investigated the concept in warfare. The Marisian Freehold makes extensive use of such vessels, but with the crucial distinction of them being unmanned and remote-operated fighter drones. The Frontier Union would later purchase such drones from the Freehold en masse for use in the Frontier War. And to this day, the Sojourn Assembly, with their vastly larger economic and industrial infrastructure, remain the only power to operate manned fighter boats, piloted by trained coxswains. The advantage of a human pilot capable of making informed judgment calls in the field naturally sees the most value in scouting and the aforementioned policing duties, as a fighter drone like the Marisian Dronesmith's Spider series can perform the role of a point defense craft just as effectively as a manned fighter, if not more so. Ever searching for new methods of asymmetrical warfare against the CDF, the Frontier Union attempted to take the best possible advantage of their purchased fighter drones, and this was embodied in something of a mid-war trend for the Union, wherein they deployed various manners of so-called nest ship, notably the Jedaline class, in addition to various improvised models. These were essentially little more than mass deployment platforms for fighter drones, intended to harry and confuse the enemy and to provide a defensive screen against torpedoes for vessels like the Florencia-class Outrider, which lacked effective point defense of their own. The nest ships and their drones ultimately returned mixed results during the war, seeing some effectiveness early on through the novelty of their arrival, but quickly becoming little more than a nuisance to the CDF in most engagements. Sojourn fighter boats like the S-36 Star Dancer were slightly more valuable to the war effort, but not vastly so, and many captains continue to place greater value on longboats like the Fletcher type for their resilience and versatility. Ultimately, the judgment of history remains undecided regarding fighter boats and their place in space warfare. For the moment, they seem destined to remain a niche component of combat, whose greatest value remains that of peacetime patrol and inspection duties. Thank you for watching. You can get the Sojourn through various distributors, all of which are accessible through www.thesojournaudiodrama.com. You can also get the series through Patreon, where you'll be able to access various bonus features, including our visual dictionary, Guinevere cross-sections, and anthology shorts. Remember to join us on Discord and get regular updates on all upcoming Sojourn releases. All the related links can be found below this video. Fair winds.